In this video, we'll review seconds very briefly and then get into an example where seconds are used a lot in the formation of melody and harmony in Chopin's Prelude in E minor, Opus 28, number 4. Just very quickly, seconds are intervals that involve two letter names, two adjacent letter names. We have a minor second, which is only comprised of a single semitone. Major seconds contain two semitones, and augmented seconds three semitones, and the very, very rare, almost non-existent diminished second, no semitones between the two notes. Here's Chopin Prelude in E minor. Before I play this for you, let's look at some of the things I have pointed out here. First, we are equipped at this point to look at the score and see that it's a grand staff. We have two staves, one with a treble clef, one with a bass clef, and they are united by a brace, right? That's the indication of a grand staff, so this will probably most likely be played by an instrument that uses the grand staff, which is, in this case, the piano. Notice the time signature. We have a cut C that is commonly referred to as cut time, that is meters that use the half note as the beat. In this case here, we have two beats per bar, two half notes per bar, as you can tell from the measures here. Also, the key signature. The key signature is indicating that we have a key, a major key or a minor key that utilizes one sharp, F sharp, and that can be either G major or E minor. These are relative keys. In this case here, we're dealing with E minor. Lastly, look at the tempo expression. It says largo, right? Which is a slow tempo that this is supposed to be played in. The half note will be slow. So the feeling of the song will be one of slowness, but not too, not like a funeral kind of thing. It's not a dirge by any means. It's a slow song. Notice how the main melody here, played by the right hand and the treble clef, is comprised mostly of seconds. So we have repeated notes. This B is happening at the head, at the downbeat of each measure. And each time it happens, it goes up by a minor second, the upbeat here, before returning to that B. It's almost like a frustrated movement upward that must return back to the original note on the downbeat, on the very strong beat of the next measure. This happens a few times, right? It's almost as if the C here, the C above middle C, an octave above middle C, was some sort of ceiling, until it gives up and goes down a chromatic unison from B to B flat, right? A semitone, which is enharmonic with a minor second here, just spelled differently. There is only one letter name involved. And then once we go down a level, we start doing the same gesture that we were doing before, but on A, instead of going up by minor seconds, we're going up by major seconds. But once again, there's this ceiling here that we can't break through, right? We have to keep returning to the same note on the downbeat of each successive measure. Until finally at the fourth measure, like before, it is as if the melody gave up of going up and is actually going down. We're returning to the minor second here, and then there's a little flourish, like the melody is finally able to break free. Notice that the highest note that we see here is a D, which is a major second above the C that we couldn't break from or break through, that ceiling there at the beginning of the melody. That D is very important, but then we go back downward, and again, right? And again, until finally we're able to reach that D once again. We go down by seconds back to B, and we have a parallel phrase after here that I'm not showing to you that resumes this earlier idea, right? So we're back to where we started here after we reach that D. So you can see that the melody is moving in seconds, and it's all about this idea of going in seconds, right? I'm including these arrows here showing you that there's a minor second between B and C, for example, but obviously once it goes down from C to B, that's also a minor second in between here, right? Same thing here. A to B is a major second. Once we go from B to A down here, from this the last half of the second beat to the downbeat of the next measure, that's also a major second happening here. And once we break from that mode, then we use other intervals that are not seconds, right? That's how we know that the melody has finally broken free, quote unquote, kind of a thing. Notice at the lowest note, the bass here of the chords that the left hand is playing, it is also moving downward by seconds. G to F sharp, mind the key signature, a minor second down. F sharp to F natural, a minor second, or really a semitone, right? It's not, because it involves just one letter name, it's not really a minor second, it's a chromatic unison, but it's enharmonic with a minor second. There's only one semitone between them. Then F natural to E, once again, that's a minor second. And then we stay on that E for a while until we go from E to D sharp, that's a minor second. D sharp to D natural, that's a chromatic unison, which is enharmonic with a minor second. We stay on that D, and then we go from D down here on this staff to C. That's a major second. There are two semitones. I've tried to show that with the blue arrow here. And then finally from C to B is a minor second. Then we go back to C, but eventually we keep here on this B. So notice how seconds are really, really important. And as important as is analyzing the intervals, right, that make up the bass line and the melody line, is what effect that has on us listeners. What does a bass line of descending minor seconds, or enharmonic equivalents to that, sounds like with a slow tempo? And how does a melody that is repetitive in its insistence of going up but keeps coming down in seconds, how does that sound like, and how does that make us feel, right? The most important thing about talking about intervals, to my view at least, is not, I mean, there's great value in just analyzing the intervals for them, but also analyzing them in conjunction with how we feel. What effect does it produce on us listeners? You know, how does a second sound like, and how does it sound like in this particular context? So now that we have talked about it, let me play this for you. I'm not a professional pianist, so I'll do my best. But if you are curious, you can find very excellent recordings very easily here on YouTube and elsewhere as well. Right, and then it returns to where we were, and then it resolves differently. This is a very good example of how seconds are used in actual music. Minor seconds and major seconds throughout, for the melody and for the bass line. Thank you very much for watching.